What's going on, guys? B. Scott here with you on today's show. We got your quarterback sit starts heading in to week number 12. I'm going to roll through a lot of your must-start quarterbacks. I like to just mention them. And then I got a few sits and a few streaming options heading in to this week. So keep it locked and loaded right here at the first four downs. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. As I mentioned in the preview, we're going through your quarterback sit starts heading into week number 12. We're so close to the fantasy playoffs. We got to keep pushing. Only got a few weeks left, so it's time to make sure that we get those W's. But before we get to today's content, don't forget, like the video, subscribe, share, thumb bell, all that good stuff, and then comment. I'm not going to mention all the quarterbacks. I have 15, 16 quarterbacks, but if there's a quarterback you want to ask a question about, sit start related, pickup, waiver wire, whatever, drop in the comment section. I'll be glad to give you my advice and my opinions on your situation. So let's dive right in to the must-start quarterbacks. I like to start from the top and just rattle them off quickly. So first off, Tom Brady, outstanding, number one quarterback in fantasy. He's at the Indianapolis Colts. They give up a ton of fantasy points to the quarterback position. The secondary, in my opinion, still isn't very good. So I like Tom Brady. You're obviously starting him. Josh Allen at the New Orleans Saints has not been the Josh Allen we have hoped so far. Very inconsistent on a weekly basis, but his ceiling's just too high to sit no matter what. He's at the New Orleans Saints. Their defense just got demolished by Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts had 3 rushing touchdowns. That's a line that Josh Allen could have. Not saying he's going to, but it's possible. So Josh Allen, you're starting him. Jalen Hurts at the New York Football Giants. The safest play at the quarterback position. If you drafted Jalen Hurts in the 10th plus round and got him as your QB1, he's been great for you. And 3 rushing touchdowns. Had a great day last week against a tough Saints defense that gave up over 200 rushing yards. But I like Jalen Hurts at the New York Giants. I mean, that team looks like a mess. They have to blame somebody, and they fire, Jason Garrett at Joe Judge. I mean, it's time to go, in my opinion. But anyway, Jalen Hurts is a start. Matthew Stafford at the Green Bay Packers. Tough spot here, and Stafford's been up and down, especially over the last few weeks. Not necessarily fully healthy. I don't know, back issue, hand issue. He's been a little banged up, but hasn't really been on injury report or nothing like that. He's at the Green Bay Packers, like I mentioned, and Stafford's the number 6 fantasy quarterback on the season, so you got to probably fire him here. The Green Bay Packers defense played pretty well, but Kirk Cousins, just roasted him up, so I like Stafford. You got to be starting him. Great game, to be honest. It's going to be one of the games of the week to watch for sure. Next guy, Justin Herbert at the Denver Broncos. Denver Broncos have been very tough against quarterbacks. I want to say fourth fewest fantasy points, but you got to start Herbert. Coming off a game, 382 yards, 2 touchdowns. He had 90 rushing yards. If you're getting that kind of production, especially being able to pull the ball down and run the football, knowing that Justin Herbert can make that big play, it's going to be a tough day for Denver Broncos defense. I like Justin Herbert. You probably still got to fire him, even though it could be a tough spot in a great divisional matchup. Lots of great divisional games this week. Lamar Jackson at home to the Cleveland Browns. If he's healthy, obviously dealing with some sort of sickness. That guy seems to be sick every other week. Seriously, he's been through so many sicknesses and COVID, especially this year. But you got to be starting him if he's healthy. Cleveland Browns secondary isn't that good. Their defense plays okay in spots, but they also can be very susceptible to the pass. And Lamar Jackson, it's hard to stop anyway. Kirk Cousins, guy I like at the San Francisco 49ers. San Francisco, the defense starting to pick it up a little bit and get that momentum going. Their run game is not very good. Wilson didn't look spry at all. He looked rusty for sure. Hopefully Elijah Mitchell will be ready to go. Deebo Samuel out of the backfield, honestly one of the best players in football at the moment, especially for fantasy. But Kirk Cousins, you got to be starting him. He just plays to the level of his competition. 341 passing yards, 3 touchdowns against Green Bay Packers in a comeback victory. Great game. If you're a fan, especially, it was a great game to watch. Kirk Cousins, just like I said, plays to his competition. I think this game's going to be very competitive, so I like him as a start here. Aaron Rodgers, on the flip side of the Matthew Stafford, playing the Los Angeles Rams. Los Angeles Rams been pretty tough against quarterback position. Aaron Rodgers dealing with a toe injury, and it's really hindered his play. He only had 385 yards and 4 touchdowns. It's really hurting him. I don't see it either. But they're playing the Los Angeles Rams. Yes, the secondary is pretty good. Jalen Ramsey, I doubt he shadows Devontae Adams. Their best chance is probably that he does do that. But you got to be starting Aaron Rodgers. I mean, you see the upside. That's why you drafted him as a top 6 to 8 quarterback. You got to be starting Aaron Rodgers. And then we got Russell Wilson playing the Washington football team. This is the game to get right. This Washington football secondary is not very good. Give up the most fantasy points to the quarterback position. Russell Wilson's looked bad over the last couple weeks. Now, yes, his hand, his finger, it's probably affecting his throw. It's got to be. So you got to be starting him here because it's the best spot you're possibly going to get if you're the Seattle Seahawks. So Russell Wilson, he's a start. Hopefully he bounces back and has a good day here. He's got great outside weapons. They need to figure out the running game and get that going somewhat, somehow. But you got to be starting Russell Wilson this week. And then Dak Prescott. He's going to round out my top 10 quarterbacks this week. He's at home to the Las Vegas Raiders. A pretty good spot. Vegas Raiders, their defense seems to be falling apart. The team as a whole, I mean, they've gone through a lot this season. Don't get me wrong. So I don't necessarily love what's going on with the Las Vegas Raiders. And the Dallas Cowboys, the only worry I have with Dak is all the weapons are just not there. It's looking like CeeDee Lamb's going to miss the game. Amari Cooper's already ruled out. You got Zeke who's banged up. And you saw last week, Dak was all out of sorts. And really, the backup wide receivers were dropping passes all over the field. You know, Dak wasn't necessarily perfect, but the receivers, man, they were just dropping balls all over. And you can't be having that if you're going to try and make a run, especially, you know, with the Kansas City Chiefs. They had a chance to stay in that game. Chiefs couldn't really do nothing against that Dallas defense either. But Dak Prescott, you probably got to be starting him here this week, but I don't necessarily love it. I get it. It's Dak Prescott. How could you sit him? But, man, no weapons. That's going to really hurt that offense as a whole. I think they'll be able to get it done either way. But Dak Prescott, I got him inside my top 10. You probably got to be starting him. So on to a couple of quarterbacks that I'd be sitting this week. Guys that you were on the fence with starting or you had, you know, as stream options. This week, they're guys that I'm going to be sitting. First off, it's going to be Tua versus the Carolina Panthers. Now, Tua had a pretty decent day last week. 273 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. He only dropped back, I want to say 30 times, something like that, 33. But the Carolina Panthers, their defense still played very well, albeit they gave up 3 passing touchdowns to Taylor Heineke. Before that, 3 passing touchdowns in 4 weeks before that. So the last 5 weeks, they've held all passers under 206 total passing yards, allowed just 6 touchdowns to 4 interceptions their last 5 games, Carolina defense. They've given up the 5th fewest fantasy points to the quarterback position on the season and the 2nd fewest passing yards. So I just don't love the matchup here. Tua on the road. He doesn't have that many great weapons, albeit Jalen Waddle's played very well. Mike Gesicki, he's been doing his thing. But I just don't love the outlook of Tua this week. I'd be sitting him if you had to lean elsewhere. I'd be going to some different quarterbacks. Derek Carr at the Dallas Cowboys. He's really fizzled out, especially since the bye week. The team's really struggled. Carr, just 4 touchdowns with 4 interceptions over his last 3 games. Dallas Cowboys, over the last 4 games, have allowed just 2 passing touchdowns with 3 interceptions. Honestly, have tons of interceptions. 7th fewest fantasy points to the quarterback position. Dallas Cowboys, 14 total touchdowns they've given up passing and 15 interceptions. They've got more interceptions than touchdowns, and I'll tell you this week, with Derek Carr 3 straight games with an interception, I could see another day in which the Cowboys get an interception or 2. So I don't love Derek Carr's outlook here. I don't necessarily see the shootout potential considering, like I said, with the Dallas being lack of pass catchers. And Derek Carr's really struggled, especially without that deep threat. Deshaun Jackson just hasn't, meshed yet into the offense if he's going to. And Derek Carr is not able to push the ball down the field like he wants. So Derek Carr this week is a sit to me at Dallas on Thanksgiving Day. And then we got Ryan Tannehill at the New England Patriots. I want no part of the Tennessee Titans at all unless you have possibly A.J. Brown. The New England Patriots are a very good defense. 2nd fewest fantasy points at the quarterback position. They have 18 interceptions on the season, which leads the NFL. And Ryan Tannehill, coming off a bad game. 1 touchdown passing, 4 interceptions, and a loss to the Houston Texans. So I don't love Tannehill's outlook at all. He hasn't been great on the season, but man, he's played one of his poorest games as a Tennessee Titan starter. So I just don't love the outlook here. It's going to be a tough place to play. So Ryan Tannehill is definitely a sit for me this week. So let's talk about a few stream options. I like Jimmy Garoppolo playing the Minnesota Vikings. Now, yes, he doesn't wow you. He's not going to blow up the box score more than likely, but he's had Minnesota has allowed 2+ passing touchdowns the last 3 or 4 games. So the defense kind of falling apart there. 7th most fantasy points to the quarterback position. And Jimmy G, 4 straight games with 2+ touchdowns. So I like the outlook of Jimmy G heading into this week. Like I mentioned with Jeff Wilson, the running game. Hopefully Eli Mitchell's ready to go because Jeff Wilson didn't look explosive. Luckily they have Debo to pick up the slack. But I could see a game in which you got to lean on Jimmy a little bit this week. So Jimmy Garoppolo, he's a good stream option. Another guy that I like, Cam Newton. I have him as a obvious starter. He's at the Miami Dolphins, 5th most fantasy points to the quarterback position. And they've picked it up on defense a little bit, especially over the last few weeks. But You saw last week the New York Jets. I want to say Joe Flacco still finished with 280, 290 passing yards, a couple touchdowns. Cam Newton's played pretty well, 179 passing yards, 2 touchdowns in his first start, 46 rushing yards, and a rushing touchdown. And the Miami Dolphins giving up the most passing yards on the season. So I just like the outlook for Cam Newton this week. And you know his rushing floor is there. Now I worry. Obviously, he's trying to get reacclimated. He played pretty well in a easy matchup. This matchup's going to be a little bit tougher. I get it. But another week in that offense, hopefully they can get it going. I like Cam as a potential stream option. And then I got a couple rookies that if you want to take chances on, I understand. Mac Jones has played pretty well. Very efficiently. Now, he hasn't had the blow-up games that you hope. 2, 3+ touchdowns. But the matchup is good. Playing the Tennessee Titans, give them the third most fantasy points to the quarterback position. Yeah, they've picked it up a little bit, and they've gotten some pressure at the quarterback, especially recently, but the secondary still hasn't played very well. And Mac Jones has been playing very efficient and effective. So I like Mac Jones as a potential stream option. And then I'm going to mention Trevor Lawrence, okay? I got Trevor Lawrence because he plays the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons secondary is not good. They've given up second most fantasy points to the quarterback position. They just don't create pressure at the quarterback really that much either. So I like Trevor Lawrence as a potential stream, but man, the offense has been so abysmal over the last few weeks, it's hard to trust. And I understand. That's why I'm just mentioning him. I'm not telling you to go out and pick him up and start him. I just think he could have a good day here, considering the matchup is good. They're at home. They've had some struggles over the last few weeks. You look at the 49ers, they just couldn't keep them off the field on offense. So I like the outlook. The Atlanta Falcons have really struggled on offense, mustered just 3 points over the last 2 games. Maybe they bounce back here, but Jacksonville's defense has been playing okay. So I like Trevor Lawrence as a potential low-end start this week. Obviously in Superflex, you're starting him anyway, but it's just a good spot for Trevor Lawrence, a good outlook. Not saying to stream him, just think he could be all right. So that's it. That's my quarterback start, sits, and streams heading in to week number 12. So if you have any questions about any quarterback, drop in the comment section. I'll be glad to give you my advice and my opinions on whatever you want to ask, fantasy-related, NFL-related, anything. And while you're there, don't forget to like the video, subscribe, share a thumb bell for all your fantasy football information. All week long, I give all your sit starts. I have any information. I got you guys any questions. I'll give you my opinions at any time of day. I'm right here for you to hopefully help you guys win your fantasy leagues, and we're on the road to the championship game. So that's it. So for the first 4 downs, it's been B. Scott, and I'm out.